Customers used to go to Buca di Beppo for a charming atmosphere and heaping plates of Italian classics. With their restaurants dwindling and their reputation plummeting, the once popular franchise might not be long for this world. While many restaurants didn't weather the COVID-19 pandemic very well, it was especially tough for Buca di Beppo. It was created as a family-style dining restaurant perfect for large groups. So it's no wonder that the place you went with a loud and raucous group of 15 for a special meal didn't do so well during the pandemic. The pandemic affected the restaurant's success not only when people were quarantining, but also on an ongoing basis. Like with so many restaurants, the pandemic interfered with the franchise's operations.
Restaurants here have been dealing with mandates and restrictions, and now ABC 15 finding at least 45 across the valley have closed.
It also permanently decreased the influx of customers that it has depended on for decades. With fewer customers, some of the long-term effects have included property lease or rental prices that don't match the income of the restaurants. Thus, it's necessary to close locations that never returned to the performance levels they enjoyed pre-pandemic. The way people eat has changed since the pandemic, which has also affected the chain's bottom line. More people are ordering takeout than eating in restaurants. Yes, you can order takeout from Buca di Beppo, but the whole point of the place is more about gathering with friends in a fun atmosphere, rather than the food experience. Plus, other potential customers are just eating at home since restaurants' costs are so high. Neither one of these realities are good for business. Buca di Beppo has been losing money for a while. However, it took until August 5, 2024, before the lower number of customers and decreased income finally overwhelmed the chain to the point of needing to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy. According to its bankruptcy documents, the chain had already been trying to cut costs before it hit rock bottom. For example, it consolidated its vendors and made changes in employee hours. Plus, it made menu changes and offered new promotions to try to get customers in the door. Nevertheless, these strategies weren't enough. The chain's debts continued to compound as food costs continued to rise and sales decreased. Its bankruptcy documents indicate that its sales decreased 14% between 2021 and 2024. The decrease between 2023 and 2024 alone was 5%. And in the first 5 months of 2024, revenue tanked even more dramatically at 10%. At the time of the bankruptcy, Buca di Beppo was sitting on somewhere between $50 and $100 million in liabilities, which was $40 to $50 million more than its assets. It owed debts to between 200 and 999 different creditors, making bankruptcy an enticing solution. Notably, Buca di Beppo is in good company, as more popular chains like Red Lobster and some Popeyes franchise groups have also declared bankruptcy in 2024. The number of Buca di Beppo locations has been dwindling for years. In 2019, before COVID-19 disrupted regular business, there were 76 locations. By the end of 2023, it only had 64. By the end of 2024, it should have even fewer.
After more than 20 years in business, Buca di Beppo is serving up its final meals tonight.
While the restaurant was already closing down locations in the years and months before the bankruptcy made 18 more closures necessary. In 2024, a single location each closed in Arizona, California, Colorado, Florida, Hawaii, Indiana, Maryland, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, and Ohio. A total of 2 locations each have shuttered in Michigan and Utah. Meanwhile, the doors are closing permanently at 3 Pennsylvania locations. Once the closures are done, it will leave the chain with 44 open restaurants, more than 31% fewer than it had in 2019. The plan is to restructure the remaining restaurants and open 1 additional location. After all is said and done, the state that will have the most still open will be California with 15. There will be 4 locations left in Arizona, Minnesota, Ohio, and Texas. Both Florida and Nevada will have 3 left, Indiana will have 2 left, and Illinois, Kentucky, Missouri, New Mexico, Tennessee, and Washington will each have 1 remaining. Even before the COVID-19 pandemic, Buca di Beppo's parent company, Earl Enterprises, found itself in some financial hot water after a big data breach. The breach was ongoing between May 23, 2018, and March 18, 2019, before they got it under control. Thus, customer data was vulnerable for 299 days. The data breach affected 101 restaurant locations owned by Earl Enterprises. So not only was Buca di Beppo affected, but so were restaurants like Planet Hollywood. In some instances, hackers who used malware to breach the Earl Enterprises systems were able to obtain card numbers and expiration dates, along with customer names. In the end, there was a class action lawsuit, and the company settled for $600,000. Those who had documentation could receive up to $5,000 each to cover a variety of expenses related to having their card information stolen. The amount also included a recompense of $20 an hour for up to 4 hours of lost time while dealing with the headaches involved with having a stolen card. Those who didn't have documentation just got a $10 gift card they could use at either Planet Hollywood or Buca di Beppo. When a restaurant isn't doing well, part of the problem can be what customers and employees are saying about it. One statistic that is helpful in showing what's happening on this front is a restaurant's Net Promoter Score, or NPS, which shows how likely customers are willing to recommend the restaurant to a friend. Unfortunately, Buca di Beppo's score isn't looking that great. According to Comparably, Buca di Beppo's Net Promoter Score is -30. While 30% of its customers have positive sentiments and are promoting the restaurant, 10% are passive and 60% are detractors that are saying negative things about the restaurant. The score was even lower in 2022. It got a little higher in 2023, but it has fallen again in 2024. Meanwhile, both of its biggest competitors have positive Net Promoter Scores. For reference, Olive Garden's NPS is 5, while Carrabba's Italian Grill's NPS is a 9. It seems opinions on social media are backing up the fact that more people have negative things to say about Buca di Beppo than positive. While some customers have favorite dishes, good memories, and like the fun and kitschy atmosphere there, most lament that it's just barely better than Olive Garden and don't consider it real Italian food. According to Comparably, Buca di Beppo's NPS from employees is even worse than the one from customers at -54.
Popular Italian restaurant closing its doors for good in Sacramento.
But the employees, very upset.
While 21% would promote the company and 4% are passive about promoting the company to friends, 75% are detractors and would advise against working for them. When it comes to reviewing the company, 42% of the comments about working with Buca di Beppo were positive and 58% were negative. And when the employees graded different facets of working for the company, the average scores were all failing. They graded the restaurant chain with an F for company culture, the CEO, happiness, the restaurant's future outlook, the executive team, the manager, and employee retention. Some of the worst complaints from employees have been about pay, and with the current financial woes of the company, it's not too surprising that employees are upset about not getting paid well because of lack of customers. In addition to stories of employees being sent home early when business is slow, one employee told Comparably, "They don't pay me the right hours. They always cut the check on me." In 2017, the company was subject to a wage theft class action lawsuit. Buca di Beppo's biggest claim to fame is offering a lot of food, but the quality doesn't quite match the quantity. Many customers rank the flavor above Olive Garden, but definitely below local Italian non-franchise restaurants in town. Some customers have always found the food to be bad or lackluster, while others have noticed a decline in quality in the past few years. Customers tend to keep going back for the atmosphere, despite the food, especially when invited out for special meals with a group. One Redditor explained, "The place has a cool atmosphere, but the food is pretty bad." They also complained that the chain uses what they referred to as processed Franken-chicken. One customer who visits with friends every year during the holidays said on Reddit, "I think I have tried a different pasta every year, and the 4 or 5 I have tried in that time span have all been very boring or lack flavor." Some longtime customers have watched the food quality decline in recent years in some locations. A customer visiting the now-closed Salt Lake City location said on Reddit, "We used to really like this place, but the quality of the food in the past year or so has gone to absolute crap." So what you're experiencing in your local restaurant may not be the same quality as in its prime. Complaints about food prices aren't unique to the 2020s.
Price is the price, yo.
When food costs a lot, however, potential customers compare it against quality and how easily or cheaply they can make the same thing at home. When prices are high, you want to go where the price matches the quality of the food. So if you're paying a premium price, you don't want food that is just so-so. One person on Reddit asked, How are so many people saying it's overpriced and crap Italian food so it closed when Olive Garden is still thriving? Someone replied by saying, "You answered your own question. It's overpriced crap. Olive Garden is moderately priced crap." To give an idea about how the quality of the food compares to the price, one Redditor mentioned, the $40 chicken parm was one chicken breast and didn't include pasta or bread or anything else whatsoever. In other words, you have to order everything separately. Appetizers range from $14.99 to $36.99. Salads cost well over $20. Sides range from $10.99 to $25.99, and pizzas are between $21 and $24. Entrees start at $28.99 for eggplant parmigiana and go up to $36.99. Pastas start at $25.99 for spaghetti marinara and go up to $36.99. Then, if you save room for dessert, it will cost between $10.99 and $18.99. Whether it's due to their high prices or in spite of them, some of Buca di Beppo's locations seem to be going downhill. They're decades old, and they're feeling their age. One problem comes from customers not having the experience they expect from their memories of fun meals from previous times. A reviewer on TripAdvisor said, "I was expecting a cheerful, upbeat, fun restaurant, but instead got an old, tired, chipped, dirty, and run-down place, long past its prime." The recently closed location in Salt Lake City had some complaints on social media of it not being in great shape the last few years. One customer noted on Reddit that the smell was unappetizing, while another complained of visiting in July and finding the place covered in fans because the air conditioning was out. These reviews suggest the restaurants are in steady decline. Notably, it's not just the customers talking about the state of some of the restaurants. An employee complained to Comparably that the restaurant they work for seemed to be falling apart. They also mentioned plumbing problems as well as the place being smelly and dirty. In older buildings, employees talk about the carpets being past their prime. In short, the physical upkeep of some of the restaurants has begun to interfere with the overall experience. Since Buca di Beppo is a family-style dining restaurant, all the menu items are built to feed 3 to 5 people. So if you are a single person or even a couple craving Italian food, you are probably going to head elsewhere. Back in 2008, Buca di Beppo tried adding more menu options with just one serving. While that might not have worked for 2008, dining habits have changed enough to seem like it might be worthwhile to try introducing smaller portions again. With more people skipping the dining room and taking food home, the restaurant doesn't necessarily have to depend on groups for its customer base. The U.S. Census Bureau says that around 29% of U.S. households are single-person households. Statista shows that another 34% are two-person households. So if 63% of households don't have 3 to 5 people to share a meal, maybe the restaurant's portion-sized model needs revision, especially for takeout. Sure, if you split the bill between several people, you can get quite a lot of food for a decent price. For example, a person who visited the restaurant with a party of 7 said on Reddit that they came out spending only about $20 per person because they split an entree, pizza, and salad between all of them. However, the prices look more daunting if you're a single person thinking about ordering a single entree without sides for around $30. Sure, you'll have leftovers for days, but that initial high price tag can be a deterrent.